At what point did living turn into a luxury? Because working in Britain today just feels like a waste of time. Working a full-time job, even on minimum wage, meant you could get by, pay the bills and support your family. But today, even those earning a good salary, struggling.
Liz Wright is 65 years old. She has known tough times before.
You always worked?
Yeah, I need to bring money in.
But nothing quite like this, where her bills are too big to bear, her wage as a cleaner barely buying the basics.
Toilet rolls once a month. The next month it'll be the soap powder, and the next month it'll be the coffee, where once upon a time you just went out and bought.
The cost of absolutely everything is going up, including taxes, and it makes you wonder, what are you really getting for working 40 hours a week? I'm sure you've all heard the saying, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Mostly seen as a warning for what's really to come in the world, but how true is it? Well, let's start with something obvious and something we all already know. Everything feels like it's more expensive than it was 5 minutes ago. Food, rent, energy, council tax, national insurance, you name it, it's going up. As wages, they've barely moved.
Figures from the British Retail Consortium show food prices hitting a high not seen since records began in 2005. With the typical food grocery shop in December costing 13.3% more than it did a year ago, up almost 1% on November's figure. That rise was driven by fresh food, all those Christmas dinner essentials, which was up a record 15%. For so-called ambient foods like pasta and tinned goods, the rise was 11%.
We're constantly told that inflation is under control and that it's definitely falling, but your weekly shop, your energy bills, it all kind of says otherwise. Now, this is not a one-off crisis. Make no mistake, this is the new British economy. Everything's more expensive, everybody is more indebted, and eventually nobody will own anything. But how will that happen? How realistic is it that eventually you won't own anything? Well, jobs aren't paying as well as they used to. The fact is, wages have stagnated since the 2008 global crisis. And as a result of that, people are being forced to live on borrowed money, on debt.
Even though a lot of people's mortgages are on a fixed rate, a lot of their unsecured debt is not on a fixed rate.
So that's credit cards.
Credit cards, store cards, personal loans, car loans, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So credit cards, I'm sure you know the average credit card interest rate hit 22% last month. It's the highest rate for 25 years. And basically the cost of all of it is going up. So over 1 million people have already seen their credit card bills go up more than £60 a month, which is a pretty chunky increase. Now, obviously, that doesn't apply if you pay off your credit card in full every month, because the interest rate is irrelevant because you're not paying the interest.
That's right.
But more than 50% of people don't do that, and 15% only pay the minimum. So it's storing up trouble for them. And on the personal loans front, almost 8 million people have got a personal loan on top of the mortgage of an average of £6,000, and they've already seen that increase by £900 a year. So these non-mortgage costs, these other debts, are really starting to bite at the same time as all of the rest of the cost of living crisis.
Incredible.
And somewhere along the line, we accepted debt as a normal part of our life. You go online to order something like a new phone, a new laptop, a new pair of trainers, and the checkout pops up with Klarna, PayPal credit, spread the cost, 0% interest for 3 months. Apply for finance now. For what? Some clothes, a bit of tech, a Subway sandwich? Also, yes, you can stick a Subway sandwich on buy now, pay later. And no, I'm not joking.
Oh, my God!
Britain's economy has never been so expensive or embarrassing. We're supposed to be a leading economy and leading country in the G7. Meanwhile, citizens are debating whether they should turn the heating on or have a meal. And this is just the beginning of what you will own nothing looks like in reality. Not because someone forced it, but because you physically can't afford ownership anymore. Now, I'm not saying that this is anybody's fault, of course, although if you are thinking of paying for a Subway sandwich in 3 installments, you've probably got to get your priorities straight.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
We have been conditioned, and in some instances forced, to stick things on credit. But it doesn't just stop there. No, we need to talk about subscriptions, which are the silent killer of your salary. Netflix, Disney, Amazon Prime, PlayStation Plus, the list goes on and on and on. Hell, even my dentist has a monthly subscription now. It feels like almost everything is set up to have a monthly fee.
These days, everything from makeup to meals can be delivered to your door. More and more people are signing up for subscription services like meal preparation kits, clothing rentals. A 2018 survey found Americans spend an average of $237.33 on subscriptions each month, including cell phone service. That's 197% higher than what people surveyed originally estimated.
And when you sit down and add it all up, the average Brit spends hundreds a month on tiny little micro subscriptions. Ownership has been replaced with access. and access is restricted behind a paywall. And this is kind of where it all connects. Buying a house becomes unaffordable, so you rent forever. Food becomes too expensive, so you start spreading the payments. Entertainment becomes subscription only, and all of a sudden you've got egregious monthly fees. Now, of course, when it comes to entertainment, there is always a solution if you don't want to pay for watching that film or TV series. Each one of these subscriptions squeezes your disposable income further and further and further. It no longer becomes a case of tightening your belt when your rent, your food shop, your energy bills, your tax. You physically can't afford to live. Meanwhile, those taxes rise, wages freeze, and public services kind of fall apart. Debt and credit then become the only buffer that some people have.
I want to talk to you now about a very serious issue, actually. Buy now, pay later, because apparently nearly 3 million households earn, £2.7 billion when it comes to these deals. The Labour Party now are basically coming out talking tough, saying that we need to regulate this industry a lot more when it comes to things like credit checks and all the rest of it. Well, regulating this industry has been going on for a long time, and there's been a lot of consultations about it as well, and nothing really has happened.
In fact, I'm filming this video the day after the UK budget just came out, and tax thresholds just got frozen until 2031, which means you are going to be paying more tax. Britain used to be a country where you worked hard, saved a bit of money, bought nice things, and just had a nice life. Now it feels like we're all kind of just going to work to rent our lives. And the message from the political class is, don't worry guys, go to work, please keep paying tax, and we'll give you just enough to get by. This didn't happen because of a secret meeting or some hidden agenda. It happened because of decades of bad policy and poorly run governments. The result is ordinary Brits like me and you feel poorer every single year. You own less, you save less, you rely on debt more. Not because of some elite master plan, but because the people running the country are quite simply inept. And the scary part is today that 26% of Brits have less than £1,000 in saving. That means if the emergency bill comes up, they physically can't afford it. That's a quarter of the British population who are 1 month away from going under. A surprise bill, a car repair, a sudden rise in rent, and all of a sudden, you're in trouble. So is it any wonder why most people in Britain right now just feel like it's not worth working? What's the reward? You work 40 hours a week to give some money to the tax man, some to your bills, and then you've got nothing left over at the end of the month. If you want anything, you're going to have to go into debt. The phrase I mentioned at the start of this video, you'll own nothing and be happy, that's not some crazy dystopian future. That's the lives of a lot of Brits right now. We deserve better. We deserve a Britain where working hard actually gets you somewhere. So what is the solution here, and actually is there one? Honestly, I wish I did have an answer, but the system is so entrenched now that without massive financial reform, I don't think we'll ever see a solution. We need tax cuts, not tax raises and gimmicks. We need to stop treating energy like it's some luxury item, and we need to start building more homes that people could actually genuinely afford. If you give them fair wages and lower their bills, funnily enough, ownership becomes a reality again. Brits simply shouldn't be happy owning nothing. We need a country that lets us feel good about going to work. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Do we need a tax cut? Do we need a big spending cut? Should we put a wealth tax in place? Do leave them in the comments. I try to read every single one. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, because it genuinely does help me out. If you enjoy videos about the UK and some of the issues that we have, please go take a look at my other videos. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.